Hi, and welcome to Benny Keith. Today, I'll walk you through using Entree online ordering by Benny Keith. By the end of this, you will feel confident placing and managing orders online. Okay, let's begin. Prior to this tutorial, you received an email that gave you the opportunity to create your password. Once your password has been created, you would be then led to the Entree online ordering system, which is located at bekentree.com. At which point you would see log or sign in name. Your sign in name will be your email address that you would use for that account and the password that you just created in the password box. Once completed, click login. Now that you are logged in, you are on your Entree online ordering system dashboard. We'll be going over the pertinent things that's necessary for this tutorial to go in and create an order. First, you will look at your customer number and the account that you're assigned to right here. If anyone has multiple accounts, at this point is where they would click the drop down and select the account they would like to work with. Other than that, we will go in and click Create Order. Now you're in New Order. In New Order, this is where we'll be going in and selecting our delivery dates and choosing the list we would like to order from. So in the delivery box, you'll see next day delivery. This is where you want to ensure that you select the date that you want to receive your product at your location. Next is your cart name. Your cart name is your name, date, and time that you're going to be starting this particular order. Next is list name. If there's nothing there or it says select a list, that means that you probably have not have history yet. At that point, you would click the drop down and choose contract. You will see your contract and the contract number, and that's where you would select to create your order from as far as the list is concerned. If you have history or in the future, as your purchasing list starts to grow, you can revert back to history. But in the beginning, we may be starting from the contract. After that, we could select history. Let's click Create Order. Now we're in our order guide. This is where the bulk of the work will be done. Let's go over it. The first box you'll see is Add Items To. This is your cart name. It'll have your name, the date, and the time that you started your order. Next is From List, meaning the list you want to order from. Right now, we'll be ordering from contract. In most cases, there's probably no history at this point. But in the future, you'll be able to toggle between your history and the contract. Next is your delivery date. Always ensure that you have the correct delivery date. This is the date you want to receive your items at your location. Let's go over our actual list, starting with the header item number. Item number is a 6-digit generated code through Benny Keith. Next is our pack size, how a particular item is shipped. In other words, it could be 2 5 pounds to 10 pounds, for example. Our brand, the brand that's generated for that particular product, and our item name, what that name is. We have our quantity, where we'll be able to click the plus or minus on how many cases of particular product that we would like to receive. On the next column is the each column. If there's a box there, you'll have the opportunity to order that particular item as a split. If it's already checked, that means it will remember what you did last. Next is our price, self-explanatory. The next pertinent category is category. Category is categorize how we categorize our items here at Benny Keith. But it may be a beneficial tool because if you will notice, it has 2 arrows pointing up and down. So you could sort that category to make it conducive to a kitchen, meaning it will put all your meats together, all your produce together, all your dairy and dry goods together. It's a very helpful tool. Now I believe you're ready to start your first entree order. Let's do so. Let's look at our order. If you'll notice, some of the items are in alphabetical order. Some people may like to order that way. Me, I like my order more conducive to a kitchen. For example, I like all my center of the plate items in one place, meaning our meat, poultry, and beef. I like my dry goods in one area, and I like my chemicals in another area. That makes it easy for me to order. To do so, to make it into a category, we're going to click on the header category. We're going to click it once and we're going to click it twice. Now you'll see that all of our items now are conducive to a kitchen in our Benny Keith categories. Here's our meat and poultry. Here's our dry. And if I were to go on, you'll have your chemicals, produce, dairy. Let's take a look here. First, before we move forward, you'll notice that some of the pricing have zero pricing. Don't worry. By the time you get your account and ready to do your first orders, those zeros will be corrected. So let's place our first order. First, let's order a case of ham sliced. How about some turkey? We could always use salami. We'll scroll down. I think I'm done with my center of the plate items. And I'd like to order some dressing, Italian creamy. We'll order one case of that. But I realize, you know what? I only need two splits. In other words, two each. Two 1 gallon would do just fine. We'll change our quantity to two and we'll check our each box. Therefore, changing the price from a case price to a split price. Let's order a couple of more items. How about some some sugar cane sticks? We'll take that. And one more thing. How about some Caesar dressing? We'll take a case of that. If you have the ability, which you do, you can always search within your list right here. So if you're looking for something in particular, say for example, cheese, you could type the first 5 words and it will automatically sort for any item with the words that you've typed. So in our cheese, we're going to order some mozzarella. That's 0, so we'll order some cheese crumbles. How's that? All right. So that shows you that while you're in your order, you could just type what you need and just go directly to those products. If I were to clear that result, now it takes us back to our list. That's a good place to start. I think we're good. Now, we have a running total of $328 with 7 items, 8 pieces. Now I think it's time to go check out. Let's do so. Click on Proceed to Checkout. Now we're in our cart. In our cart, this is where we want to review our order to make sure everything is correct. Once we do so, we may realize we may need to make changes. This is one of the last opportunity you'll be able to make changes prior to submitting your order. So to make changes, say for example, instead of 1 case of ham, we want 2. By clicking the quantity plus gives us an extra case. And we also decide instead of ordering 2 1 gallons of the dressing Italian creamy, we decide we'll go ahead and order a case. So first we'll uncheck our each box and we'll bring our quantity down to 1. If we need to get rid of an item, say for example the feta cheese, we'll just select the box and you'll see up at the top, remove selected. There you go. Below, you'll also see recommended items, but that's not pertinent for this training at this particular time. We'll move on. So we've double checked our list. If we need to go back to our order, all you'll need to do is click here, continue shopping. Continue shopping takes us back to our whole order, as you'll see here. But I think we're fine. So let's go back to proceed to checkout. Order has been verified. Everything's good to go. We're going to proceed to checkout. Now we're at the last step of our checkout process. This is the last opportunity we'll have to review our order prior to submitting it. Let's look over our order. Everything looks good to go. We look at our running total, $346.09, 6 items, 7 pieces. We are also going to verify our delivery date right here. It'll also show your cutoff time. A recommendation when doing your order, please try to do your order as soon as possible. This may not reflect your particular cutoff time, but it's first come, first serve. So we want to make sure that we get our orders in early. Next is PO number. PO number, if you need something notated in there, you can go ahead and put it in there. It doesn't mean anything to us at Benny Keith, but if you need it notated on the invoice, that's an opportunity if you want to put something in the PO box number. Other than that, we're going to go in and submit our first order. Your order was successfully submitted. Well, congratulations. You submitted your first order. But we're not done yet. Once your order is submitted, you want to wait about 15 seconds so you can make sure that you can check the status of your items to make sure everything is filled. To do so, after a 15-second wait, you'll want to click your check status. Once you click check status, it'll tell you that your particular order has been submitted. And you'll also see if if all your items are filled. There are some cases you would see out of stock or a partial. If that's the case, under the status column, that's when you would contact customer service in relations to if you're going to be receiving that product. Now that you submitted your order, you may think everything is okay, but there may come a time that you decide that maybe you do need to make changes to that order. For example, you may be missing a case of a product, or maybe you ordered too much of a product, or you want to make changes to anything within your order. You could do so. If you'll notice, initiate change order. But we'll be a little more practical. In most cases, you've probably went back to your day-to-day work and you'll notice that change that you need to make. So you would log back into your Entree. Once you log back into your Entree, you'll notice the header at the top, orders. If you were to click on orders, you would want to click on submitted orders. There, you will see your order that you submitted. It's no longer your cart name, but you'll notice now it's an invoice number. And besides that invoice number, there's a PIN. If you were to click on that PIN, that will bring up your previous order. There you can review that order, and you'll see over to the right, you'll see initiate change order. You'll click initiate change order. Here it'll take you to the review order that you've seen previous where you can make your changes. Here you can make changes to the order that you've already replaced in cases or each. In this example, Instead of ordering 2 cases of ham, I'm going to order 1. And I need to order something from my list. In that case, I'm going to click on Continue Shopping. Once you click on Continue Shopping, you may come up to nothing in your list, but that's okay. If you'll notice, from list, there's nothing in the drop down. We're going to click that drop down and we're going to go back to our contract. Now we have our whole list there. And I think you're familiar with this process. You can go in, make your changes. For me, I'm going to go back and sort my category the way it was previously, starting with my center of the plate items. I see my ham there. It did make the change of 1 case. And I'm going to order salami. 1 case. And that's the only change that I need to make at this time. Once I've made my change, I'm going to proceed to checkout. To start the checkout process again, I'm going to look at my order, review that order again, and I think I'm good to go. Next, we're going to proceed to checkout. Once we click on Proceed to Checkout, once again, I'm going to verify my delivery date every time. Everything looks good, order is good. We're going to submit that order once again. Now, we've just created a change order. If you'll notice, it says order submitted successfully. We're going to wait our normal 15 seconds. And again, we're going to click on Check Status. Click Check Status. And under our status, we're going to look to see if all our items are filled and make sure there's no out of stocks or partials. Again, congratulations. You just did a change order. Thanks for following along. You're all set to handle online ordering with ease. If any questions pop up while using Entree, remember that support is always available and we're here to help. Now go place your first orders and make the most of it.